Welcome back to another episode of the Know Your Power podcast. I am your host, Julia Renee.
And Kendall Aaliyah.
And today, guys, I got hair everywhere. I literally washed my hair yesterday. And like, it's been so long. And I honestly lost track of how long. Like, I'm going past a week this point. Because with these, I had 18-inch extensions, and now I have 24, and I hate my life. So, no, just kidding.
See, like my hair is almost as long as yours on its own, but it's not thick. I have really thin hair. So it's like I hear girls complain about like long hair. It's hard to manage. And I'm like, I'm doing fine. But I think that's why like you have all of your hair, and I feel like you naturally have thick hair, and then extra hair on top of it.
3 extra rows. Yeah. And I have to like lift it up and shampoo in between. I can't wear one clip anymore. I have to use 2 clips in order to get my hair.
How do you brush your hair with extensions? Like, can you not brush at the root? Because I feel like that would drive me nuts.
You can, but there's either like a special brush that you can use, and sometimes the extension companies will like give you a brush with it, which I have that one. But honestly, I feel like the wet brush is better. Have you ever used a wet brush?
That's what I use.
Yeah, I use a wet brush.
Okay. I didn't know because like I've never had them, and I used to want them so bad before my hair finally started growing again. And that was like the only thing that was like turning me off from them is like I love feeling my scalp.
Yeah, I literally have to lift and like scratch in between the wefts in order to be satisfied, or I just like
pat them.
I pat it and then like oh man. And I even extended my appointment like 2 extra weeks because of I changed my show date and everything. And I'm dying because they're so grown out, and they're like touching the top of my ear and like tickling it. And I'm like, yeah,
that would definitely
I'm
not
definitely gonna
be
cut
for me.
it. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna cut it.
But it's so pretty.
No, I'm gonna cut it just so that it doesn't go into my butt crack anymore.
That's fair.
That's basically it. We don't need butt crack hair.
No butt crack hair here.
Yeah, I mean, but today, besides butt crack hair, today we're going to be talking about the 5 things that we wish we knew when we started our fitness journey.
Did you get the inspo for this one from the retreat?
No.
When we did the Q&A panel, this was the first question we got.
That's so true.
And I feel like we all... Like I had 20 answers. So I feel like this is a great topic. Yeah.
There is so many things. And we can, I put 5, but like we can always add things to this, of course. But number 1, and this is one that I've been talking about a lot lately, is that not everyone is going to support your journey.
You have a note to talk about the merch first.
Oh,
I was like, you're getting ahead of yourself.
I am, guys. We launched our merch. Yes, we have. Yay.
We've been working on it for a minute.
Gosh, a minute. So many meetings every single week, testing things out, getting them back, them not working, us retesting and everything. And finally, everything came out perfect, exactly the way that we wanted. See, like right now I'm itching from my extensions already. And we launched our merch. By the time you're listening to this, it's already been out for a couple of days.
Yep.
So go grab your stuff. The link will be in the description of the YouTube channel. And if you're listening on whatever platform other things are on, Spotify.
It'll be somewhere. Links are everywhere.
It'll be down in the things. But yeah, we're so excited to share with you. We have been dying to like tell you everything about it, but we've been just like holding on to it. So go grab some things.
We're also already planning on like the next launch, which will be a little more like winter themed. So if there's any products you like wish we made, just tell us.
Let us know.
So we can do it.
I'm trying to find something currently that's like a workout tracker, like a journal that's a workout tracker, but it's so hard to find something that's like exactly like what I'd want it to look like. So we're working on that, but we do have like our next launch kind of already planned, which is going to be more
so excited.
Holiday.
Yeah, I feel like anyone with merch, as it goes on, I feel like products get better and better, and we start to like tailor it more and more. So definitely like give your feedback once you receive everything.
Things that you like, things that you want to see more of, things that you like.
You said that already.
Things that you like. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe things that you hate. We can be transparent here.
Yeah, for real.
You shouldn't hate any though.
But mainly things that you like. No, I'm just kidding.
Only give us positive feedback.
I only react well to positive feedback. That's it and nothing else. Honestly. I don't want to grow whatsoever and develop as a person. No. That's not why we're here.
Constructive criticism. It's not only compliments.
Yeah, that's not why we're here. It's obviously I'm being sarcastic because that's what this whole podcast is about. But yeah, go get the merch. go get it.
Yes.
And so number one, not everyone's going to support your fitness journey.
Yep.
And you know what? I think that this was something that was actually super surprising to me, because I'm like, I'm working out, like I'm eating healthy, like my energy levels, like I was just radiating such positivity and and I was so motivated that I assumed that all of these were good things, and I assumed that people were going to also support it, and it wasn't the case.
Yep.
It was weird.
I weirdly, I'm so grateful that my family, immediate family, was very supportive. But someone like my dad wasn't and isn't. He still isn't. And instead of he's never tried to tear me down or say anything negative. He just simply doesn't talk about it. He ignores that part of my life.
He's it doesn't exist.
No, literally, when we talk, that is not a topic that comes up.
So weird. That's literally the only thing that my dad and I talk about.
See, for my mom and I, that's our connection point. But that was someone that it's taken me all this time to be huh. I wonder, I never even realized that people weren't supporting me. I just kind of ignored them.
Wait, I'm also wondering though, was your dad an athlete when he
No.
Okay, well this is what he
exactly.
He doesn't get it.
Never been to any of our sporting events, stuff like that. He's very much so a musician and very creative. So we talk about that side of my life.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's hard for people like that to look at me and be like, my daughter's getting really, really lean and being in a bikini in front of people and all of these things. And I totally get it, but it took me a long time to get it, to get why someone maybe wouldn't support what I do.
Yeah. And I think it does have a lot to do with too, if that person is already immersed in fitness, or maybe they were an athlete growing up. That's why at first my parents were not supportive of me doing bodybuilding, mainly because they didn't understand it.
Yeah.
They never told me don't do that. They just said my mom was please don't put on too much muscle, because it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
I talked about this with my one-on-one coaching clients literally Monday, and was there's going to be people in your fitness journey that don't understand. And it's also a generational thing. Think about our moms and our moms' moms, what diet fads were cool during that time, and what was acceptable, what body types were shown, and not even on social media. There wasn't social media. It was magazines and TV that you would see things.
Yeah. And everything was skinny, very slim build. Even thicker girls, not in a muscular sense, were not put on covers. We're not
just
modeling.
The words that were used, skinny, slim, toned, all of these different diet fad words. It's completely different now, and it's so much more acceptable to be any body type, which is so awesome. And it's just I don't know. It was just weird when I first started getting into the fitness industry that my parents didn't understand, but all it really took for them to get on board was for them to see. For them to simply just see why I was doing what I did, and why sticking with my supplementation, eating my meals on time, going to the gym, and then taking it to the next level and being a professional bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Them seeing the impact that it had on my life and the lives of other people that maybe saw me doing it and then wanted to do it too, or felt motivated to go after something in their life. I think they didn't really know 100% what it meant to me until they saw me on stage, because they saw me on stage and they could see how much I loved it and why it was important to me. And I know we're talking about bodybuilding, but
that's still part of our fitness journey though. Yeah.
That's a huge part of it. But one thing for me that happened a lot was friends and coworkers not vibing. Not vibing with it. Did you ever feel that?
Yeah, for me, it was my first prep ever. Again, I know this, I'm talking about prep, but my fitness journey started when I was 12. So I never really had friends who had opinions. Actually, I kind of did like back then too, but I think like the most hurt I felt was my first prep ever. Obviously you don't really go out, you don't drink, period.
Yeah.
And the friend group I was around at that time liked to go out like every weekend, and I would join them previously. I was never a heavy drinker, but I would go. And then I got to the point in prep where I like didn't even have the energy to go with them, especially like always being sober around drunk people is like always annoying, but especially annoying when you like don't have calories.
You're hangry and you're completely sober and you can't do anything that they're doing and you're just staring. You're like, so, okay, why am I here?
I think it took like after the third time of them like inviting me to things, they stopped inviting me. Yeah. And I definitely took it as they're judging me for my lifestyle. Yeah. I was never judging them for them. I just like literally didn't have the energy to go. So I would explain that to them and I'd be like, oh, I'm like too exhausted, or I like have this in the morning, whatever it was. And it definitely felt like more personal flipped back on me of like, I don't know what it was. I've never talked to them about it. Yeah. We have no bad blood, but I'm not friends with those people anymore. And I think we're hello. And
she just choked.
Once an episode, I'll get ahead of myself and I'll like choke on my words. But like, we were just...
And then I was like, did she just throw up? She just did a little baby throw up?
No, I just like can't breathe when I try to talk so fast. We were just growing in different directions. I think at the end of the day, I was not fully there and supportive of their lifestyle and they weren't there and supportive of mine.
That's very true. And that's the thing is that during your journey, like you could potentially lose people. Mm-hmm. And I definitely did too. And not because there's any judgment on how anybody lives their lifestyle. Sometimes that does happen. I'll talk about that in a second. But it's not really from a place of judgment. It's more from like your values and the things that you do. They're not really aligning anymore. Like, for example, for me, I started getting really invested in my health and my fitness journey when I was still working at a salon. So I was an apprentice at the time and then turned into a stylist and was running like my own clients and stuff. And that's when I started really focusing on my personal development and getting back into working out. And they knew me as the girl that like I did my hair and makeup, you know, I didn't really work out. I would have giant
I so can't picture you back then too. Every time you talk about it, I try and I'm like, crazy. I can't.
I literally had like a pixie cut at that time and like shaved on the sides. Like I was a completely different person. And I would go wake up every day, like just rushing to get to work, like put my makeup on in the car, pick up like a giant Frappuccino from Starbucks and like 2 tacos. And like, I wouldn't eat all day. I wouldn't drink any water. Like I was smoking cigarettes at the time too. I think that's the first time I've ever said that, honestly. Yeah.
I never knew that.
One thing about being like a hairstylist, like what's weird, like I picked it up when I was in beauty school because there was like this giant group of girls that all were like the girls that would like when we had our 15-minute breaks, like go out and smoke cigarettes. So I still had that habit, smoking cigarettes, like when I was doing hair. Obviously I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but yeah. So that was like my life. Like I repeated that on the day to day. So it was almost like that group of friends that I was with as a stylist, that's the girl they signed up for.
Yep.
When they signed up to be friends with me, they signed up for this girl that like smoked cigarettes, like would go out with them, would eat whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, didn't care about what I was putting into my body, and was kind of honestly kind of negative. So when I completely flipped the switch on our friendship and was like, instead of going out tonight to the wine bar like we usually do, I'm actually going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Instead of like drinking alcohol, I'm just going to drink water. Instead of ordering, like going and grabbing pizzerias for everybody, because that's what I would do. Like sometimes as an assistant, like go and grab food for everybody. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to eat my prep meal, but I can go and grab you guys stuff. You know what I mean? So I think that's the biggest thing that happens is when people don't support your journey, is that they knew you as a certain person. And then all of a sudden, you're this new person. And they're like, well, girl, like we didn't sign up for that. We signed up for party girl. You know what I'm saying? And it was really weird. Like I would get made fun of for bringing my prep food in.
That's where I relate is I was in high school when I was like really getting into like serious fitness. And it was a very similar thing where like the friends I was creating or the people I was around, yes, I was around athletes, but like they would all go out to eat after games and events and stuff like that. And I like stopped going because I was focused on trying to compete one day. So I had that same like weird like energy shift where it was like I was changing what I saw as for the better and they were just kind of like ostracizing me. You know?
They're like, she's changing, but we're not vibing with that new change. We like this old Kendall, you know?
Especially like certain people who aren't in the fitness industry or who are young, because we were both pretty young, like getting into that like step. I feel like they don't understand it at all. And they like put judgment on it almost. Like they hear bodybuilder, they picture like bodybuilder, and they like assume that's what we're after, and they're like, that's gross, or like whatever their opinions are, and they put that on you, and like that's not even my goal. Like you didn't even ask what I'm trying to do. You know?
Or why, or what it means to me, or any of that. You know, people might ask why, and that's the thing, is like you don't have to ever give them an explanation. You can try your best to educate them why these things are important to you, without passing any judgment on how they live your life, how they live their life, because everyone's going to do something different. I know that bodybuilding's not for everybody. I know that there's benefits, and there's definitely things that are wrong with bodybuilding for sure. And people are open to have their opinions about anything. And if you just have open communication with your family and friends of like why you're doing this, that's all you can do. And it's up to them to make the decision on how they're going to support you going forward. So yeah.
Period.
And that's on period.
That's on period.
Number 2 is motivation will come and go. So like this kind of hit me hard, because when I first started my fitness journey, there's this point where you're so motivated, and it lasts like a good while because you're starting to see progress. You see the newbie gains.
Yeah, everything's new and exciting.
Everything's new and exciting. You're like learning so much, and you're figuring out what works for your body and what doesn't work. And you hit this like stride. And I always like to call it like you get in your flow, where there's almost nothing can stop you, and you just keep going, and you're in your flow. And sometimes that flow gets disturbed, and you're just like maybe a little bit more tired, like you're not as motivated, your workouts are boring you are not as excited to go to the gym, you're kind of tired of eating this certain food that you were once excited about, and that's normal. And I feel like those times people freak out. Like they freak out and they're like, oh my God, my motivation is gone. What am I going to do? How am I going to progress? And that's the thing, is that motivation is fleeting, and that's okay. What's important to know is that you can rely on your discipline, your rituals, your routines, these things that you have set in place for yourself, like eating healthy, eating meals on time, not skipping, drinking water, going to the gym. You can rely on these habits that you've built in that season when you were super motivated and ready to go, to carry you through the seasons when you're not motivated. There's plenty of times in this prep where I've not been motivated. Plenty of times. But I still go to the gym, still eat my meals, still do my cardio sessions, drink my water, take my supplements, because I am now conditioned to do that.
Yeah.
This is just what I do now. It's a part of my life. Just remember back to when you started your fitness journey. And I know a lot of girls listening are gym girlies, and they're like, I already have these routines. Like when I miss the gym, like I freak out and I'm like, what do I do with my life? Just think about how difficult it was for you to get into the routine of doing that. Now you do it without thinking. That's the power that our brain has, is that our brain can create these positive habits. It can also create negative habits, but you can use your brain for you, because it's created these positive habits that propel you forward when you're not feeling motivated to go and do something. So
I feel like if you have goals, like set goals, then that should be your why am I going today? It shouldn't be how you feel that morning or how you feel about yourself today. It's like true. It shouldn't be anything that's like conditional on time. It should be I'm going because I'm getting closer to that goal. Like whatever step it takes. That's why, like, you know where you want to be, you know, you want to get to that Olympian stage. So it's not a question of like, am I going to the gym today? Should I skip my cardio today? It's like, no, like that's my goal, so I'm going to do it, you know?
Very true.
So eyes on the prize, not on how you're currently feeling sometimes.
That's true, because like our emotions are just as fleeting as motivation is. You know, like this week I've had a okay day on Monday, you know, like I go through that at the week, and every single day of the week, I'm not at 100% positive, Julia, even though people potentially think that. Yeah. I have days where it's like Monday was like, it was an okay day. Like I was dealing with some shit. Tuesday was okay. Wednesday was great. Yeah. Thursday was great too. You know, it's just like up and down. So our emotions are so fleeting, and they change sometimes by the hour or the day or the circumstance. So why make a decision based off a momentary feeling? Yeah. So if I were to give you guys any advice, is to just know that motivation is fleeting, and that's okay.
It's normal.
And during your journey, it will come and go. When it's there, Take advantage of it, kill it. When it's not there, rely on your discipline, your routine, and stay connected to your purpose and your goal.
Yeah.
That'll keep you through those moments. There's also things that you can do to spark more motivation. And if you want that, go listen to our episode on it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You do number 3 because my mouth is struggling to
Wait, I haven't
make
even
words.
read it yet. Okay, number 3 is what works for her won't work for you. I'm going to assume what this means instead of reading the whole description out to you guys.
Yeah.
Basically not it like a workout routine or a workout plan is not like cut the same way for anyone or everyone. Like there's so many what I eat in a days out there. Yes. There's so many like, here's my training split. Here's my exact workout. Just because it works for someone else does not mean it's going to work for you. And I feel like a huge thing that's like being brought to light now, especially on TikTok, I keep seeing these videos, is girls are realizing that those like, what's her name? Like Chloe Ting. Do you know who that is? Yeah. How like her ab workouts are not gonna shrink your waist. No. You know, like things like that. Yes. That in the beginning we see these like little workouts on like Pinterest that are like build your glutes, and it's all body weight exercises, and you're like, how much are we really building our glutes here if we're not like pushing to a certain extent? So
if we're not progressive,
it's just little things like that of like, just because you see other people doing it or other people showing it or saying that it works for them does not mean it's going to work for you. A lot 100. Of exercising is trial and error. A lot of nutrition is trial and error. Everyone's very different. Metabolisms are different. I know girls that eat 3,000 calories a day and don't gain weight.
Yes.
And then there's someone like me who I could eat 1,700 and put on muscle. So like we're very different body types.
Very, very true. Like even Kendall and I, like we have similar goals, like physique goals, but our diet, our training, what we enjoy doing is so different. And how we like to do it also that fits in with our lifestyle is so different. Like things that I love to do and that I know is going to be sustainable for me might not be for Kendall. And the foods that Kendall eats are not the food that I eat. Like one thing that I did so much when I first started, my fitness journey is, I feel like we should drink every time it says, when I first started my fitness journey, drink.
Drink your water.
Chug some water. We'll let
An energy drink, maybe.
An energy drink, maybe. But what I did was I found so many YouTubers and content creators that I love to follow, and I still follow some of them to this day. And what I would do was I would see how they were training, how they were eating, what supplements they were taking, and I would copy every single thing and think that if I just did that, I would have her physique.
I think it's so funny, like thinking about how much I did that when I first started, like Cass Martin and like Nikki Blackadder, I would like do their exact upper body days.
And do their what I eat in a day. So be like, oh, I'm just going to eat that. I'm going to do the same thing.
I'm going to look like Cass Martin. Yeah. It's like, no, you're not. I'm
basically going to look like her tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so like I took that into account whenever like people always ask me to do what I eat in a day, and I'm always very hesitant to do them. And now, if I ever do them, which is very rare, I always start it by prefacing, guys, I used to copy what people would eat and think it would give them a physique. There's so many things that go into account. Take this as inspiration for maybe your meals. Yeah. Do not copy every single thing that I'm doing because I have different goals. Yeah. I'm a professional bodybuilder. I'm going after something different. Your goals might be different. So just remember that before we start. And then I start my videos because I know that I'm speaking to that little girl that was me that would just copy everything. Hey, you be quiet.
My chair is so loud.
Her chair's like farting.
So loud.
And this caused me to literally, I did paleo, Kendall. I did pescatarian.
You have
I was
vegan
a vegan
on this list, and I can't picture you vegan.
I was a vegetarian. And then I did like if it fits your macros. I tried all their like little supplement company things.
Oh, so have I. I've done all of this.
All of those things. And then now I'm sitting in like now after all of that trial and error, I know what works for me. And for me, it's I eat all of the macros. And when I'm on season for bodybuilding, I stick to a specific meal plan because that's what works for me. When I'm in my off season, I do if it fits your macros. I do low calorie, high volume foods in the off season too, so that I stay fuller for longer, but I also get more calories. I know how I like to train. I train like a wellness competitor, and none of that is how I thought it was going to go watching everybody else's YouTube videos and stuff.
Fully. And I also think it's like a good point to say that like your own body is going to change. You're going to have to like change the way you're eating, change the way you're training as your fitness journey goes on. You're going to have new goals, and that's going to require a different way of training, etc. Like everything is constantly evolving in your fitness journey. Like it's not like here's my plan, I'm going to follow this for the next 5 years.
Yeah. Like I train so different than I used to. Like so different. I used to train all the body parts equally. And now it's like, okay, you have to train less of this, more of this, less of this, more of that.
But you wouldn't be where you are now
no.
without that old training style.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I think there was one more thing that I wanted to know on this. I think it had to do with diet potentially. Oh, I mean, our genetics, like our genetics are so different. Metabolism, even our microbiome, like things that our gut can handle. You know that between me and Ken. I'm a garbage disposal. I can eat anything and my stomach be fine.
I'm like a recycling bin where we will not accept anything in my digestive tract.
You are so right. The one thing though, do not get the red hot sauce at Chipotle unless you want to have fiery booty hole. Do not get it.
Can I tell you, I wanted Chipotle so bad the other day. I haven't had it in like years. And actually it's been like a year, and it made me remember a little tangent here. It was like our second date ever. My boyfriend and I got Chipotle, and like we were both sitting there like, does your stomach hurt?
You can hear like the...
Yep. And he was like, does your stomach hurt? And it was like too soon for him to like fart in front of me. It was just not good. I was like, I need to go home. Like
I just want dying. To know... Are they putting laxatives in
their
food? Because it like Chipotle is like a bodybuilder's go-to. Like if you're out and about, it's a bodybuilder's go-to because it has the basics. Like you have veggies, you have your protein, you have your rice. But what are they putting in it that makes it poo-poo diarrheas?
Because that's so gross sounding. I'll make the exact same thing at home and I'm chilling.
Yeah, fine. It's like, what?
Chipotle specifically, maybe skip that part of your fitness journey. Things I wish I knew. Chipotle will make you bloat and in pain.
Yeah. And you will be on the toilet the rest of the evening. So we're all different. We're all different, basically. So just remember when you're seeing content creators or people's what I eat in a days or their workouts, just remember, even mine and Kendall's, just remember that it might work for them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it works for you. Take it as inspiration. Like I'll see a bunch of girls doing these certain workouts and I like Olympians doing certain, I'm like, I got to do that workout. I try it. I feel nothing.
Yeah.
I try something different and I alternate it to be something that works for my body. I feel it way more. I just spit on you. I feel it way more. So just keep that stuff in mind, and it's okay. You don't have to do it. None of us have a copy paste type of workout.
Yeah, never.
And training. Number 4, you're not going to be perfect. Get over it.
This one's hard to let it sit in. It took me years to stop being mean to myself.
Yeah, I'm still trying to be perfect. So.
Yeah. If I have a bad workout or I have to cut my workout short, or if I don't make it to a certain amount of workouts in a week, like things like that, I used to beat myself up for so heavily.
You're like, you're a failure. You should stop everything and quit and just go back to being the person you
And that sounds extreme, but that's literally how like it used to feel, is like my world was crumbling if I wasn't like 110% on everything I was doing. And now like I'm at a point in my fitness routine, I guess, in my fitness journey where like I have so much balance on like off days, on days, like fun foods, strict foods, stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, like it took me 8 years of being in the gym to get to a place where I have balance now. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. Oh my God, I have to burp.
I can keep talking.
I did. But you're so right. And it's so crazy too, because it kind of reminds me of, you know, when you're in high school and you have like your first boyfriend and you're like, I'm just gonna like, we're gonna be boyfriend, girlfriend, we're gonna get married, we're gonna have kids, he's gonna be my husband, and you break up and you're like, the world's ending. Yeah. I'm never going to love again. Yeah. It's like that. Yeah. When you get started in your fitness journey and you mess up, it's like, oh my God, everything that I worked toward, I ruined everything. And I'm not like saying this to make fun of anybody that's like struggling with that, because I still sometimes do that.
Yeah.
Like I've been lifting for years and I'm pretty knowledgeable and I have done really well in the fitness industry, and I still have days. I literally wrote about it this morning in my journal. Like, Julia, you're always just so hard on yourself, and you expect yourself to be perfect at all of these things and to continue to succeed and for your journey to be completely linear and just like, and no, it's going to be more like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Kind of talking about that like motivation in the beginning too. Yeah. Like motivation is very up and down, and so is like everything you do that's tied to that. Yeah. So like I definitely still go to the gym some days. Like I'll have like an off week where I don't feel right, and I'll just like, I'll still show up, I'll still go for myself. But are my workouts like something I'm proud of? No. But am I still showing up, and should I be proud of that? Yeah. Exactly. So like take what you can out of your day that day.
Yeah. Like you're not always going to be 100% on it with your macros or your meal plan, with getting all your water in. If you, with doing your workouts, like with the most intensity. Also, if you are, good for you. And question, are you a robot? Because damn, that's impressive, you know? And the thing is like even with bodybuilding too, like that is a sport where it's almost like required of you to be a robot and to be 100% at those. But I still have days where I go to the gym and I have literally 50% of energy left in the tank for me to train. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lift at the max of that 50% that I absolutely have. And even though I'm feeling only at 50%. To me, that was 100. Like
you're giving 100% of that 50%.
I'm giving 100% of that 50, and that's good. Yeah, that's great. So don't try to be perfect.
Also, like,
give yourself grace when you quote unquote feel like you've messed up.
Yeah,
and just start again, because you can always just start again, and it's not the end of the world. Okay.
I was going to say, don't compare yourself again to like seeing like people like our fitness routine or like what we eat in a day, like things like that. It's so easy to be like, oh, well, their workout was perfect, or this X, Y, and Z was perfect. It's like, we're just showing you glimpses of our day. So definitely don't like compare your part of your fitness journey to anyone's part of their fitness journey. Yeah. You know,
if you want to go and see a terrible training and workout day for me, go to my day in the life video. That's the most recent one on YouTube, and you'll literally see me struggling with getting through like a simple workout, and like I could barely lift anything, and I was so tired, and I was feeling like a failure. You want to go see that? Go see that. I'll show you. Like it was a bad day. Yeah. It was such a bad day, but like I still gave whatever I could, even though what I could give seemed like it wasn't that much. And that's all that you guys can do. So just be nice to yourself, give yourself grace, know that you're not going to be perfect, and there might be little setbacks, and that's fine. My stomach is growling already. Did I have breakfast?
I haven't eaten yet.
Bro, no, I did have breakfast. I've just woke up at 5:30, and like when I wake up early, like my stomach knows it's hungrier earlier. It's like,
that's true, because usually I won't eat until later in the day, and on the days I wake up earlier, I'm like immediately hungry.
Yeah, because when you're sleeping, like your body, you're just
hanging out.
You're just unconscious, so you don't know if you're hungry because you're unconscious. Yeah.
Number 5 is progress won't always be linear. Your progress is not always going to be constantly improving, getting better. We hit plateaus. Plateaus are so normal in a fitness journey, and that first plateau you hit can be really scary.
Yes, because you've been going and like killing it for so long. You're like gains, and then you're like, what happened?
Yeah. You feel like you did something wrong when in reality, like you've just been training a certain way for a certain amount of time. Maybe your food's been the same for a certain amount of time. Your body is eventually going to plateau, and you're going to have to like hit that new level of intensity, whether that's like cutting calories, increasing calories, whatever your goal is.
Switching up your training or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're not always going to go into the gym and like hit a PR, go with this a new level of intensity, do more reps, always see physique changes. There's going to be times where you hit like a point where your body's stuck and it plateaus, and there's some things that you can definitely do, which we've made a podcast on, like how to get over a plateau. There's stuff that you can do in order to like get past that, but there's literally like there's this magical time frame. I don't even know how long it is. I'm not even pretend to know, where you can see so many newbie gains from a certain amount of years. And then there's a point where you hit a certain amount of years in your training where it literally stops. And the older that you get, it gets harder and harder for you to make the same amount of progress. So I'm 26 right now, and I still am in a very good spot where I know that I can make a lot of gains, but that might be different when I turn 27. It might get harder. When I turn 28, even 30, it might get harder. Just the older that you get, it's harder to put on the same amount of muscle mass, but you have more muscle maturity and the muscles start to look completely different. Like my muscles look so much different than like Francielle, who's on the Olympia stage and has been training for years, and she's in her late 30s. Like there's a lot more muscle maturity there. So just keep that in mind when you're training.
And also I remember when I started my fitness journey, like even through like my teenage years, I would always look at people 10, 15 years older than me and compare my muscle to them. And I was like, why do I look like
why do I have baby muscles that look like you can squish them?
Yeah, I was like a water balloon. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, am I ever going to look like that? Is this my genetics, whatever? And then, like every single year, I'm like noticing that I hold body fat differently. I hold water differently. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like the work I put in at that age is like paying off now, which is nice. So just stick with it. Even if you're not like completely obsessed with your physique all the time, like the work you're putting in now is for your future self.
Big facts.
Yeah.
Do you have any other things that you wish you would have known?
The one I had answered at the retreat, this is like the last one I'll add, is just to appreciate where you're at in your fitness journey. Yes. I feel like it's very easy to get sucked into like goal setting and constantly striving for like what's next, and not appreciating like how far you've already come. Like I feel like we're both kind of victim to this, where we're like constantly like, what can I do next? Like what show's next? What Olympia's next? Whatever. Instead of like, oh my God, like I went from having no muscle mass like just a few years ago to like being where I am today. And like that change is something you need to like appreciate in yourself. Like even the little wins of like setting out for a squat PR. Once you hit it, don't be like, okay, well now I want to hit.
You're like, okay, cool,
even higher. Exactly.
It's like, thank you, next.
Yep. And instead you should be like, wow, I just did all the work and like made this goal and I accomplished that goal. Like let yourself kind of appreciate your accomplishments.
Sit in it, feel it. And look, the reason we're telling you this too is because like we're learning to do this as well. Like I constantly have to check myself and say like, sit in it, feel it. Like you did something great, because I forget and I just continue to move forward. And then what that does is just make you feel like anything that you do is never enough. And then when will it be enough? Like once you have everything that you've ever wanted, if you don't appreciate any of the climbs that had to happen before you got there, once you reach that top, that pinnacle, that goal, it's going to feel like nothing. Yeah. Which I've had before too.
That happens to me almost every bodybuilding prep. Is all I care about is show day, that I don't care about all the work and time and effort I just put in to get to that show day. So then when show day's over, you're like, wow, now what?
You're like, but what do I do with the rest of my life?
Exactly. Versus if you're like appreciating your fitness journey as it's happening, setting different goals within that fitness journey, like that allows you to appreciate the process instead of like just an end goal.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely did like this unintentionally. I did this practice this morning of wrote down everything that I've learned so far in this prep journey. And I was like, oh my God.
That's cool.
I was like, I've learned so much out of this journey. And that was the purpose of me doing bodybuilding or starting my fitness journey, is that I know challenging myself in this challenging myself in this way forces me to grow in areas that I need to grow in. And I've learned so much. I won't bore you about it now, but yeah.
That's a good practice though. Like sit and think about what you've learned and what you've like taken away so far instead of just at the end.
Oh yeah. Because you'll be so much better off. Like when you actually reach that goal, it'll feel so much better instead of you reaching it and being like, hey, cool, but next, you know, and then you don't sit in gratitude at all. So really sit in it, feel it,
be proud of yourself.
Be proud of how far that you've come, because it's worth celebrating for sure.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. We love you all so much, and you're more powerful than you think.
Bye.
Hey, make sure you get the merch.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.